recording, okay? So this is for all of you so that just in case something goes wrong with our signal, you will have a chance to be able to catch the recording later on, which I will show you where to access it. This one now is for all of you, dear teachers, a prayer for teachers.
A prayer for teachers. Giver of all wisdom and greatest of all teachers, look upon our teachers with love. Grant them the resolve to nurture our eager minds and to never give up on us who fall behind. Bless their hearts, for they rejoice when we succeed and encourage us when we fail. Endow them with gentle patience, for the path of learning is never easy. Kindle a spirit of passion in them. It is the flame that ignites the love of learning in us. Help them see the potential in each student. Their belief in us means much more than the grade we make. Instill in them a commitment to keep on learning. It shows us to not fear new knowledge and experiences. Inspire them to touch the future. They influence how big a dream we dream for ourselves. Bless our teachers who have come before, for their work endures to this day. Let the light of your example shine upon all teachers, to build up with their words, to love with their mind, to share with their heart. Amen.
Okay, well, I would like to start first by sharing with you again our principles so that you get an idea of why we are going to push what we are going to push today, which is on creating a school culture, no? Creating a healthy school climate, healthy school culture for the benefit of the students. Here are our principles. If you've attended any of our past seminars, then you would have seen this. And much of what I'm going to explain to you are rooted in these principles of why, yes, it's worthwhile working and working hard to be able to create a healthy school culture and climate. One is we are not just engaged in an employment. We are not merely employees of a company. We are in charge of forming character, molding minds. That is a real educator. That's what a true educator does. It is not just a subject, it is what every good educator wants to be able to accomplish. Form minds, mold character. Whatever subject we are given. That's why you must have heard this from me if you've attended some of our past seminars. I don't like the expression, what subject are you given to teach? Well, I prefer to hear um, that we are not just given a subject to teach, we are entrusted with students to take care of. Okay? We are entrusted with young people to mold the minds of, to form the character of. Okay? Character teaching is not just about covering the curriculum. It's not just about finishing a lesson plan, a unit plan, finishing a coverage. We are given young people to raise up to be smart and good, not just smart, but especially good. That's real education. It's not just about finishing a textbook. That's why we always say the success of a teacher is not just to be able to say at the end of the year, I'm a good teacher, I finished the textbook. I'm a good teacher. I covered the whole syllabus. I was able to reach the last chapter. That's very important. That's very nice. But that is not the essence of being a good educator. Our success is to be able to say at the end of the year, I made a difference in the lives of my students. Or better yet, at the end of the year, for us to be able to say, My students are better human beings because I taught them not just science, English, and math, but I taught them with my example what it means to be a professional, to be hardworking, to be kind, to be caring. And that is what we will be going back to again and again the whole week and the whole of the July series seminars. We will be going back again and again to this point. There is no other better way to form the character of our young people except to do the power of our example. We will teach the young people kindness in the way we deal with them with kindness. We will show them what it means to be a professional. When we go inside the classroom, Zoom room, Google Meet room, like a professional, prepared, well prepared with our lessons, really well thought of, because that is how we're going to teach them excellence, to do the example of our life. And that's why we always say the teacher is the most important teaching tool. Today, we will talk about school culture, and you realize culture is created by the people there, starting with the leadership and then the teachers. When we model the kind of culture we want the young people to pick up from our school, then we create the climate, and that climate is what will provide the setting for whether we will be able to have a toxic or healthy culture in that school. And really, believe me, in the end, the school is only as good as its teachers. But today we're going to talk about school culture, and you're going to realize more important. Well, okay, important are the teachers, but it's also important that there is a good leadership. In July, one of the topics is teachers as leaders, because in the end, without without waiting for the principal to dictate on us on what to do, we can create first a culture in our classroom, in our class, whatever class we are handling, and then that overflows to our department, and that overflows to the whole level, and then to the whole unit, and then to the whole school. We are in the best position to be able to create that culture. So let's talk about school culture and climate, and these are very much related to each other. We will look into culture. What is school culture? You know, I've gone around the Philippines visiting schools. I've given seminars to more than 75,000 teachers all over the Philippines. And many times, just 15 minutes of going around a campus without even talking to anyone, but just walking around the campus, you can have a sense of the climate or the culture that is prevalent in that school. And then you interview teachers, you interview administrators, you interview students, and then you even interview parents, and then you realize they have formed a certain culture, sometimes without the school even realizing it, that they actually have created a specific kind of culture, which is of a certain mindset, outlook, attitude, behavior. All these have to do with culture. Let's try to define it. Here is one possible definition we can give to it: the collection of relatively uniform and enduring values, beliefs, customs, traditions, and practices that are shared by the members of the organization, starting with leadership, teachers, students. And then um, you also will be able to see that rubbing off in the non-academic staff, the non-teaching staff. And then going farther, if the school is a great school, they also influence the culture that the parents in that school create. You see, a hallmark of a great school is its effort to reach out to the parents, learned by the new recruits and transmitted from one generation of employees to the next. Edgar Schein. Another way of defining it, and this is acceptable definition, it's an accepted definition of culture. That's just how we do things here. That's culture. Or simply the collective programming of the mind of the members of the institution of the school. Okay, and I tell you, I've visited some schools where the culture is the teachers see the parents as opponents, people in the other side of the fence, people in the other side of the camp. You can almost right away say there is a problem in that school. They don't see the parents as collaborators, cooperators, or even partners. Because really, if the school is interested in forming character, necessarily the school will have to look at the root of the formation of character, which is at home. That's why I mentioned a hallmark of a great school is its effort to reach out to the parents. Immediately, if there are some of you here, administrators, you look into what your school is doing, and if you realize there is that gap between school and home, partnering, collaborating, helping each other, supporting each other, in the real sense of the word support, not just getting donations, because I've also visited some schools where that is the mindset. When they see parents, they see tuition. They see collection of payments, on-time collection of payments. They see parents as complainers. I mean, I've visited some schools where their mindset, their idea of parents is that group of people who always complain about anything, about the gate, about the canteen, about the food, about they complain about everything. And so they see the parents as like that, opponents, people in the other side of the fence. You can have an institution where that is the kind of culture that they see, that they develop. So on the other hand, I visited some schools where parents are very welcome to talk to the teachers, and not just about academics. They come to the school in order to discuss with a class advisor, "Ma'am, how can we help my son cope in math? How can we help him in the house? How can we help our son who is having problems with two subjects? Um, how can we help him overcome computer games addiction?" When you have parents coming to school, helping, collaborating with the school, with the teachers, in order to help the son succeed in his academics, then you have real homeschool collaboration happening. You see, that has nothing to do with donation, that has nothing to do with fundraising, because yes, I have also seen some schools where when they think of parents, they think of what other projects, fundraising projects we can organize for them to push, to campaign for, to market among the other parents. That is important, that is relevant, but that is not the very essence of homeschool collaboration, as what we're going to see today in creating a culture. So then, school culture. If a teacher walked into a school, how would they pick up the culture? If teachers start working in a school, coming from another institution, and then they go there, what kind of culture will they pick up? How will the culture of the school they used to teach in clash or meld harmoniously with the new culture that they find themselves in? Sir Giovanni said, "Culture is the most powerful source of leverage for bringing about change in a school or any organization for that matter. Change the culture, you change the school. Improve the school culture, you improve school climate, and you transform the school." Bauer described it as that. That's just the way we do things around here. How teachers deal with students, how students are expected to deal with the teachers, how we greet parents when they come inside the school, how we greet visitors when they are inside the campus. That's just how we do things here. We have a school program. We start with a prayer. That's just how we do things here. We start with a national anthem. Okay, that's just how we do things. So all these things, uh, many of them are not even written down anywhere. That the MC will have to acknowledge the guests before getting into the actual start of a program. So that's just how we do things here. We acknowledge the presence of the board members, okay? And we acknowledge the past officers who are visiting, and are that's just how we do things here. And you apply that to everything else, even how the cafeteria is run, how the library is, how the change of teachers from one subject to another happens. Culture tells people what is truly important. That is culture. Tells people how they are to act, whether in a formal setting or informal setting, how they deal with each other, how the teachers deal with each other in the faculty lounge. Is there a like a separation? The senior teachers have a special place, special table that you young teachers are not allowed to use. That too is part of culture. Um, how things happen or go on in a school during the day. So you can say these are all the components of culture. We are going to look into the different types of cultures that can be prevalent in a school, and as we go through those healthy or toxic culture, it's very good to consider how things are in our school, and therefore perhaps we can see improvement, um, places for improvement, points to work on, points to consider in the next board meeting, points to consider in the next faculty meeting. Norms, beliefs, values that make up the rituals, persona of the school, ceremonies, symbols, stories. And through the years, a school starts getting a certain reputation, and many times that reputation has something to do with a school culture that has formed through the years, because of the graduates, because of the teachers, because of the training of the new teachers that come in year after year, because of how parents are oriented. They all have to do with being able to form the culture. That's why sometimes we also say culture is like institution building. That's what we are trying to do in creating a healthy, strong, um, good school culture. We are building an institution. Continual sharing of ideas, that is an example of a healthy culture in an institution. Very opposite from dictatorship, that the decisions are made by somebody on top, or maybe not even somebody on top, but somebody that has been entrusted with the task of making decisions. And then he just um, announces it. Faculty meetings are reduced to announcements. Please submit the grades. Please work on this. These are the deadlines to keep in mind. When the faculty meeting ends up just being a list of announcements, and the faculty, the teachers, have nothing to contribute. They cannot object, they cannot suggest, they cannot recommend, and they cannot even give feedback about whatever has been decided on. Then that's what you call a dictatorship. a And sometimes, I've attended meetings like that, where after 1 hour you realize he just read announcements and reminders. He could have just emailed all those things to us. We did not have to come here together, spend time in a room, together, if we were really just anyway going to be told deadlines, reminders, submissions, please do this and please do that. It could have been done to do a memo or ah that's when you have teachers now beginning to feel that the faculty meeting is SWOT. Such a waste of time. I mean, we know SWOT, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. But bulung-bulungan, teachers whisper to each other. This is another SWOT activity. Such a waste of time. And it's a very good point to, in fact, consider. Do not call a meeting if all you have to do is read a memo that you already actually anyway sent to them, either by email or in hard copy. Because I've experienced being in an institution like that where you look forward to the faculty meeting because it's a chance to be able to bring up a concern, a worry, suggestion, an idea, a brilliant idea that you suddenly started using inside your classroom and it works. And that's a healthy culture. When teachers are excited to share best practices, continual sharing of ideas, practicality, and the same thing. You attend a faculty meeting and then you have a number of things in your plate that you're excited to get into, to do right away, to perform, and to see how it will work. Practicality, collaboration, that we really feel our worth. They say many times a teacher leaves an institution not because of the salary. Some people do that because of the salary, but um, many times a teacher starts looking for another institution to work in because they don't see themselves growing anymore in that institution. They don't see their worth. They don't see any contribution that they can give. Every day is just going to do a schedule of classes, and then comes the grading, and then comes the new unit or the new quarter, so it's just like a cycle that becomes like lifeless, because they don't feel their worth in collaborating, in working with teams, in coming up with solutions to be able to make things better. A healthy culture is a place where teachers will feel their worth because they are made to collaborate, they are made to help, they are made to cooperate and work with other people in coming up with solutions to problems or ideas to make things better. They feel they belong. um, th- that kind of culture where they know they are special, then not just because they have a lot of things to contribute, but they start realizing that this institution is so productive, so powerful, so egalitarian, that we are a cut above the rest, that we are not just like any other institution. I've worked in many schools. I worked in CRC College when it was starting in 1990, 1991. I worked in Iloilo, St. Joseph School. It used to be only grade school. And then I founded a school in Iloilo, Westbridge School. I started it in 1992 and then up to 1994. And then I went to Southridge, where I served as principal of intermediate school and vice principal of high school, then religion department chair. And then I moved on to University of Asia in the Pacific. And then I helped start another school, Bannister Academy in Pasig. And then I went to Sri Lanka to help many schools there in teacher formation. I've worked in so many institutions and I've seen how feeling that your institution is a cut above the rest creates a different mindset. I mean, it brings about a certain, okay, we can call it superiority complex, But also we can say it is um, giving a person, a teacher, a sense of purpose. And that is what makes a teacher want to stay on to in an institution for life. That is what will make someone want to spend the rest of his life serving that institution. Last Saturday, was that like, yes, last Saturday, I was invited to give an inspirational talk to the three three retiring teachers of Philippine Science High School, and one taught there for 37 years, another one for 25 years, and then the librarian for another 36 years. And they're proud of their school. They feel that their school is a cut above the rest. Their decision in staying put in that school and choosing that school is a great decision that they have made. That is a kind of culture we want to create among our teachers, that they would want to serve the institution for the rest of their life, not just because of the salary. In fact, it occupies a lower place in the reasons for staying. One of the top reasons for wanting to stay in an institution is they feel their worth. They feel that they are able to contribute a great value to the institution. The readiness, the realistic approach, the innovation, these are things that make a teacher want to be a part of an institution for life. And that is a clear sign of healthy culture. So the norms, what we described earlier as this is just how we do things here, that we expect our teachers to look professional. Okay, now we are in the online setup. The norms still have to govern how the teachers are expected to handle their classes. For example, just because we are in an online class, did you do away with a haircut policy? Do you allow your teachers to teach online with a long hair, unshaved beard, just because we are in this online setup? I know some schools that explicitly told their teachers, let's run our classes online in the same way, in a very much the same way that we did when we were doing it face to face. And that means with a punctuality that we followed the schedule when we were in the face to face setup, that we appear on the screen as professionals, ready, because as you are dressed, that is how people will treat you or deal with you. So you come on screen with the disheveled hair, unkempt face, and well, expect the students to somehow treat you with that same level of um, unpreparedness. But you come to class with the same preparation of a professional appearing in front of the students in the screen online. That's just how we do things here. That is school culture, the norms, um, the how we carry ourselves, how we do things, how we schedule our activities with the students. That's very much part of the school culture. And then values. In fact, there is one later on, we will be talking about it, core values as school culture. Because many times, this is it. You want to create a school culture that is of high standard, with virtues and values. Then you have to make sure you continue to be governed by core values. Well, I will talk about that later on in the concrete things that we can do in order to set up our school for a healthy school culture. Assumptions. And this is what I was mentioning earlier. I've met some teachers whose assumption of parents is Their assumption of parents is complainer. Okay, of when the son is failing, it's the parents who come to the school asking the teacher, can you explain why my son failed? Ma'am, shouldn't your son be explaining to you why he failed? Not me. And then that's the kind of mindset some teachers adopt, a mindset of seeing the parents as like that, people in the other side of the fence. Well, maybe because we did not orient them enough that parents um, leave academics to the experts, okay? And then as for you, your job is to make sure that your son, your daughter at home has a good study table, study place, good source of internet. I mean, that he is able to do what is expected of him, doing online research if he needs to. Um, so all those things are your concerns. In our concern here in school is we will teach them in the best way that we can, as we were prepared and as we were educated to teach, because we are the ones who studied in the schools of education. We were the ones who took 18 units and passed the let exam, and we have a license to teach. So what is our assumption of our parents? I visited a school where the teachers, their assumption of their students is they are all lazy, they're all addicted to gadget, they're all problematic as far as Wi-Fi, internet, digital lifestyle is concerned. They don't want to study. Those are their assumptions. That the students that they have are if they can break rules without being caught, they will break rules. So that's the kind of assumption they have. And so you look at their discipline plan, it's like a discipline plan that is geared towards always punishing, sanctioning, negative consequences. We will talk about that in the classroom management, and you will see wait, no, uh, don't highlight the lowest level of moral development of Kohlberg. The lowest level of moral development is I will do good because I don't want to get into trouble. I don't want to be punished. I don't want to be sanctioned. That's the lowest level. And sometimes you see some schools, that's the kind of assumption they have about their students, that they are always looking for ways to break rules, that they are not capable of motivating themselves. They're not capable, for example, of doing things according to principles. So, what is your assumption? What are your assumptions about your students, your parents, the work that we do in the school? What are your assumptions about the leadership in the school, about the management? Um, these all form or help create form the kind of culture that the school ends up having. So, all the while, I've been talking about leadership, and now you realize, yeah, the principal or the director, the directress, the executive director, whatever title it is that you usually would have in your school. In some schools, they call it the headmaster. They are the ones who are in a position in the first place to really shape culture. The principal, the director or directress. Sometimes we can also put here the school owner who calls the shots, who makes decisions. He or she is the chief culture shaper. They're in a position to be able to create the kind of culture there should be in a school. I found this interesting reading on Understanding School Culture by Michael Thompson. If a head is consistently interested in one thing, it will become a centerpiece of school culture. If a head is inconsistently interested in many things, unclear in communicating with employees, or inconsistent in decision making or defining priorities, people will spend a lot of time trying to figure out what's going on We don't even know what's going on. The head's inconsistency will become a central feature of the school culture. That's why one of the most important things we should be doing as we are preparing for the new school year, to begin a new school year, is to sit down and then to review what is our being, the reason for our being, the purpose of our school. And then when we look at our mission, vision, core values, that is when we are able to really create the kind of culture that we want to have. I visited a school once and I asked them, what's the school's mission, vision, and core values? And the teacher told me, I said, I'll show you, I will show you. Ah, no, they transferred the tarpaulin na pala in the other place. And, but she couldn't dictate it to me. She couldn't summarize to me what is the mission's vision, mission, and core values. In other words, what does the school stand for? What do we really want to be able to achieve in our school? On the other hand, let me tell you, I visited a school with Dr. Michele Borba in Cebu, and it was horrible, according to Dr. Borba. And then that school worked on um, the 11 principles of character education partnership, of a school of character, and even just with principle number one, which we will discuss later on, which is that they are guided by core values. Even just that one, if that is the only thing they worked on, but they did not only work on that, it would have transformed totally the school. And they became um, fourth or fifth school of character in the Philippines, the Paref Springdale School, which is now a school of character twice over because they qualified the first time around and then they were re-elevated as a school of character. And everywhere you go in the school, you will see written to do all things well, do all things well. That is what guided them. That is their vision. That is their core value. That is the purpose of their school. That's what they want to be able to achieve among their students. And just with that, it transformed totally the school to become what it is today, a real school of character, one of the best in the Philippines, that can be set up as an example of what it means to transform the school, to do character formation, and then creating a culture. Sometimes, I've seen this up close and personal, working with a school head who doesn't seem to know what really he wants to be able to achieve. And sometimes you hear, okay, now priority is this. And then a few days later, no, we will highlight instead this one. And then there is a new project. And then there is a new initiative. But they all point to all sorts of directions. I mean, it can get confusing, right? It's like finding a road sign like this. You don't know what it's trying to tell you. And then it creates a problematic culture. So then, the leader is the key. He, she is the one, the person in a position to be able to say, this is what we want to achieve as our culture in our school. This is going to be what our school will become. Those of you who attended the seminar last month on class advisory, I showed this slide. Leadership. If a school is a vibrant, innovative, child centered place, if it has a reputation for excellence in teaching, if students are performing to the best of their ability, one can almost always point to the principal's leadership as the key to success. That's from a US Senate resolution. But in that seminar, I highlighted if a class is a vibrant, innovative, child centered place, if it has a reputation for excellence in teaching, if students are performing to the best of their ability, it's the class advisor responsible for that. Okay. But in the whole school, It's the principal that is responsible for creating the kind of culture. In the end, this is it. The school that is vibrant, innovative, child, it's describing a school culture. So then, we look at what does the principal plan for? What does the principal monitor? Um, and I tell you, I've seen a school where not just the principal, but the teachers are made to be very conscious of the performance of the students in the college entrance exams, because that's what the board always follows up the principal about, and the principal follows up the teachers about how is our preparation of our students for the college entrance exams, like as if that's the only thing that matters, like as if that's the measure of success for a school only, to the detriment of other concerns. Wait, but shouldn't we also be concerned about the character of these young people? I mean, so what if they make it to the top choice of their university, but they end up to be cheaters, liars, cut and paste mentality, submitting work that is not theirs, it's plagiarized, and then they put their name, that kind, just to be able to get the good grades. Then we are going to be in trouble. What does the principal consistently monitor, follows up the others about? What does the principal model? What does the principal reinforce through recognition and celebration? Is he even concerned about the um, perfect attendance of some teachers? Did he give recognition to that? The fact that teachers, in spite of the situation we find ourselves in, there are teachers who are really doing their best to maintain their perfect attendance, to maintain their perfect punctuality, reporting for work on time, and or is the recognition, celebration, um, well, they don't seem to point to anything, or worse, celebration for the sake of just having a celebration. I've seen a school like that. They say, "Wait, the school year is about to open. We still have budget unused. We have to organize a party or as a dinner out for the teachers, a lunch out, because sayang the budget. It's already there. We might as well use it." So you now start seeing that kind of celebration for the sake of having celebration because there's budget for it, but not because it is a priority, it is a concern, it is a something important. What behavior is the principal willing to confront? Now, let me share with you a very important observation I've made in some schools. um, there's a teacher you want to correct, but you cannot correct that teacher. So instead of correcting the teacher, you come out with a memo like that, addressed to all, to the whole school. And that memo is meant to address that concern you have about that one teacher. We don't do that. That's failure in leadership. In fact, that's absence of the real fortitude to be able to do what has to be done. I'll give a concrete example. There's a teacher who was using the school car, okay, the school car. Uh, but instead of correcting the teacher, here comes the um, principal telling the HR officer, "Can you issue a memo, please, reminding everyone that the school car is only for official use and cannot just be used by any teacher?" When all the that had to be done is to call the teacher and just really explicitly tell him, uh, "No more, don't use the school car anymore." So that kind of leadership is this is the kind of leadership that is expected of a principal who is going to create a culture, who is going to transform the school by creating a strong, healthy climate. So we mentioned toxic versus healthy. Here are some signs of toxic school culture, school climate, weak leadership, and that kind of um, he will have to ask the HR officer to be the one to issue the memo, because he does not want to uh, give himself a name of, a reputation of being a dictator or being pushy. Okay, so he delegates that task, that difficult task, like that. Well, weak leadership, lack of direction, rudderless. You don't even know where are we heading. At a certain point, the impression you get is we are just trying to survive the year. Like objective of the year, to survive, to finish the school year without scandals, without big troubles, without court cases. Closed and secretive, mistrust and suspicion, bully tactics, fear, anxiety, isolation. These are really toxic climate and signs of toxicity, tension, stress, inconsistency. Last week it was announced like this, and now they want us to do this. That those two things seem to be contradictory. Inconsistency, destructive internal competition, control. These are all signs of toxicity, and I mean, just describing these things, some of you are already thinking, oh my goodness, if I'm in a place like that, I will be filing my application forms in other schools. I will be preparing my exit. We wouldn't want to be in a place like this. And even worse, sometimes more toxic than what I mentioned earlier, you can have fellow teachers, co-employees. Um, that's a bad term, actually. Um, in the talk I gave last June 5, the nobility of the teaching profession, I emphasized we teachers should not see our job merely as employment, okay? Because this is more than just an employment. It's a mission. It's a vocation even. And for those of you who are working in Catholic schools, it's a great apostolate of bringing souls closer to God. That is how important our job is as teachers. We are not merely employees. And if you have a co-teacher who starts really behaving simply as an employee, um, this is I'll give you a description of a kind of employee. The time in is 7 o'clock. He will try to log in at 6:59. 6 a.m. That's too early. 6:30, it's too early. 6:59. And so, but most of the time, because of traffic, because of unexpected things along the way, 7:01, 7:02 log in. Log out is 4:30. At 4 o'clock, umaali-aligid na sa bandik clock, no? Or yung ano, how do we call that? 30 minutes of waiting for the clock to turn 4:30 because not a minute longer. That's employee mentality. Okay, some people because they have to catch the school bus. Okay, understandable. But here's a teacher who has his own car, but not a minute later in being able to exit the school. That's a kind of employee mentality, or the idea that why will I choreograph my class number for the Christmas program? I'm a math teacher. That's not my problem anymore. But the students are craving for help and needing help. That's an employee mentality, not willing to go the extra mile. And so you have people like that sometimes. A negaholic, a saboteur, prima donnas. I've been here in the school for 30 years. I can do whatever I want. The the time of logging in at 7 that's just a suggestion. I've been here for 30 years. There's nothing to do anyway until around 7:30. And then there are those who are like martyrs, no? And then there are those who like they are the keepers of the nightmare. They know all the bad news that happens to the parents, to the students, to the teachers, to the non-teaching staff, to the uh, hero is anti-heroic, space cadet. So you can have all these kinds of characters coming into play when you have a negative culture that has been created. You get confused even with their examples. Sometimes they say one thing and they do another, and in the end, you realize anything goes in this institution where there is no prevailing healthy culture. It's really anything goes. And then we say in a place like that, it's a problem of leadership. There's a crisis of leadership. So then, here are what school leaders in healthy cultures do. Number one, they're available to all stakeholders. I remember working with a head of a school once in his first months. Wait, he's very, very visible, visiting different offices in school, even sometimes joining people for lunch and for snacks and coffee, and being there in activities of the school. And then as he went with more years in the school, encountered bigger and bigger problems with the school board, with the parents, with the teachers, with the he starts becoming less visible. And he reached a point where he arrives in the school, locks himself up in his room, only comes out when there is a meeting to attend. But it's very difficult to find him. And ah, then you start sensing this leader had reached a burnout situation, and he's burnt out. Communicate regularly and purposefully. That's what effective leaders do. Online or face to face, they want to reach out to people. They want to know how are things? How is the first week? How are the teachers coping? How are the students coping? Last year, when we were thrown into this unusual, abnormal situation of having to do our classes online, 1 week after the school opening, I have a student. I heard of a student who already broke down and is thinking of quitting, committing suicide even, and depressed. 1 week. That's all he needed. 1 week of online classes to get depressed, to get burnt out. And then it's not just the students, there are also teachers who are having a tough time coping with these internet problems, Wi Fi problems, signal problems. Not to mention, um, this is not what we were trained to do. I mean, we were not trained to do online teaching. We were trained to teach inside the classroom, face to face, with our students there, and managing the class as we've always done in the past 10, 20 years. In my case, in my 34 years inside the classroom. This is just not what I have been trained to do. So teachers, be forgiving with yourself. I've said this in past seminars, but I need to repeat it. Administrators, be forgiving with yourself. Do not expect exactly the same results as what we did or as what we had in the face to face. It's just not the same. And signal problem in the Philippines is real. The struggle is real. um, April, when I ran my series of seminars last April, day one of the seminar, as I welcomed the participants, there was thunder, there was lightning, and then there was brownout. And I was logged out of my Zoom account with 120 teachers looking at me frozen. And we are supposed to be talking about professionalism and character, and so the struggle is real. There really are times when we do not foresee problems of technology, problems of students or the teachers happening along the way. So, strong leaders never forget that they are role models. Strong leaders are passionate about their work. Strong leaders accept responsibility for the school's culture. And this is a first step. First is the principal will have to be the one to say, I will do this. Now, I'm not saying you don't have school culture. All of you at this point already have, one way or another, a certain culture that is there. Perhaps what many of you will just have to do is to tweak some, or to redirect some, or to strengthen even more what you already have in place. But if you happen to be in a school where, yeah, it's more toxic than healthy, then we have to get the leadership to be working side by side with the teachers in making this happen, creating a healthy culture, healthy school culture. Are organized, exhibit a positive outlook, take pride in the physical environment of the school, empower others appropriately, and demonstrate stewardship. They protect their school and its people. We will get into more concrete things about this. Okay, it's 3:58. I will be giving a break in 2 minutes or so. Now, there is such a thing as formal culture and informal culture. You know, formal culture are those that you can find in black and white, printed in the faculty manual, in the student's handbook, in tarpaulins, in the website, the mission statement, the values that we stand for. Um, Most schools would have that. Well, most good schools would have that. These are our core values. These are the most important for us in this school. And these are the values that we form in our students, that we get everyone involved in being able to achieve: the parents, the teachers, non-academic staff. You see, we will have to make sure that they are not echepuera, because sometimes it happens in a school that the non-teaching staff become like second-class citizens. I've seen a school where the non-teaching staff start developing a certain inferiority complex. It's very sad when these people are equally important. I mean, I would even say the janitor, that security guard, the maintenance men. If not for these people, we will not be able to have the campus that we want the students to be able to see and enjoy, and be able to say, here in our school, even the walls are teaching, even the streets, the sidewalks teach order, cleanliness, material upkeep, elegance. Even the plants teach, they preach, they give us lessons. So, um, formal culture are all these, defined by symbols, the school mascot, and the song. They are not whimsical. You know, sometimes you can, some schools might think, why do we have to come up with a eagle, archer? No, these are important. They are the symbols of what we stand for as a school, especially if they have meaning. And especially so because I mentioned to you, I started a school in Iloilo City, and I would say I designed the logo of the Vinta because it's common to all PAREF schools, and then the fish that is there, which is caught by the head. That has a meaning. That symbol is a very important symbol of this is how we catch fish, by the head. This is how we form boys, because it's an all boys school. By the head, you form them in their wisdom, in their knowledge, and then everything else will follow. So the school mascot, the school song, the school logo, they all form part of the formal culture. But there is also the informal culture. Like you go to the faculty room, how do people interact with each other? The senior teacher, the junior, the young teachers, are the young teachers able to um, talk to the senior teachers with ease, with that they don't have to be very formal, that it's like a family. I mean, you and I, we always want to call our faculty a family, our institution a community, the people that make up our school one big happy family. Okay, then we look into, is that how we really interact with each other here? Like one happy family? That the young people are not afraid to go to the senior teachers and to ask for advice and to ask for ideas and to get to know them, how they share information, how work gets done, and by whom. Now, let me just warn you before I give you a break. There is such a thing as subcultures that develop in some schools. Subcultures in that grade level. All the teachers there are like that. Subculture. Ay, Filipino department, all of them think the same way. That's a subculture. The young teachers, that's how they behave. Friday, ang gulo-gulo, ang ingay-ingay. They're excited because they're all going to go out as a group, as a barkada, young teachers going out. The older teachers, on the other hand, okay, they start forming their own subculture. Non-academic staff, I mentioned to you the sad thing of one school where the non-academic staff developing a certain inferiority. It's absurd. Where is the one happy family that we are talking about here? When you have this security guards, maintenance men, janitors, they feel like they don't belong. They feel like they are echapuera, the word I used earlier. And then the millennial teachers. Kasi millennial yan eh. Kasi he is of that stage. um, no, all these with proper formation, orientation, guidance, and then the leadership of the principal or the director or the leadership of the senior teachers together as a team, being able to create a certain school culture that is healthy, that is marked by collaboration, family, core values, etc. Okay, we will go into the marks of, or the markers of school culture when we come back from a little break, as I always do. Let me just share a few videos with you. Some people might need this time to refresh. I realized in the past seminars, I didn't know this until I realized later on. Some people log out. Uh, they need this few minutes to be able to log out and then log in again after, because they need to refresh. Okay, well, some of you may need to do that, need to get water, need to go to the washroom. Just two or three songs to give us a little break. When I come back, we'll continue on with the markers of school culture. Okay, I guess that's good enough rest for you. We can proceed with our discussion of school culture, the markers of school culture, the mission statement. Um, is very important. In fact, I will be spending time later on talking about principle number one of the 11 principles of School of Character Accreditation. Those of you who joined us last May in that session um, would remember the role of the guiding principles, what makes us what we are, what drives us as a school, why we do what we do. That's the mission statement. And practically all schools would have that. Um, Maybe what needs to be done only is to highlight it and really to make it guide the everyone else in school. And I think this is the secret of that very popular, successful school along Katipunan, no? um, Most of the students I had in Northfield, I forgot to mention to you, I also taught in Northfield and I continue to help out in Paref Northfield School in Quezon City. And most of the students I have there would like to end up in that school in Katipunan for college. And you go to that school, ask anyone, including the prep boys, the grade 2 boys, what does the school want to do to you? Everybody knows it. They will tell you the school wants us to be a man for others. A man for others. That's, in a few words, our mission statement. That's what we are as a school. That's our mission, vision, objective, battle cry, motto, whatever you want to call it, but it's very clear. A man for others. Student programs. We look at the what are the programs that the school offers for the students that will tell you um, if the school is really aligned with what it stands for. I mean, why does it have the varsity teams? Why does it want students to compete in national and international contests, competitions? Why is there a club for scouts and then there is also for camping and then there is because they want to form tough boys. Um, Men who are going to be men of character. Okay, that's an old boys school and that's what they want to be able to achieve. So the student programs will tell us what kind of culture is being fostered or is being formed. The programs for teachers. I always tell administrators when I get the chance, administrators, please make sure your celebration of Teachers Day every year is probably the most meaningful celebration you have, because that's one of the very rare occasions when we really are able to express our gratitude to teachers for dedicating their life to this work, which is not even a really very rewarding work many times. It's very tough, especially given the situation we find ourselves in. And especially if you were attending our past seminars, I always started with the crisis in character of the students inside our classroom today. The crisis of teen pregnancies, gadget addiction, pornography, the crisis of addiction to technology, their lifestyle that has become dictated by technology and gadgets. Um, all these are reasons why teachers and teaching rather, has become tougher than ever, tougher than usual, more difficult than ever it was before. Now we don't just deliver a class. We have to motivate the students. We have to get them to be interested. We have to get them to be paying attention and listening and focusing not to the games that they have, not to the social media that is also open while the Zoom classroom is open and the meeting room, the uh, Microsoft team is also open. So, how are we helping, for example, the teachers understand the school's culture and work on creating that healthy culture in our school? And then the physical building, which is the learning environment, which for us now is, well, being jeopardized by the situation. I mean, we are forced to get into online setup. But that too now becomes part of the physical structure of the school. How dependable our LMS is, how dependable our asynchronous classes, videos that have been uploaded by teachers, and tests that the students have to take online, etc. They now also have to become part of this learning environment of the students. They are all part of the the school culture markers. It's the most powerful source of leverage for bringing about change in a school or any organization for that matter. We mentioned this earlier, and this is the reason why, yeah, it's worthwhile. Let's do it. Let's improve our school culture. If your school is a great one, I see um, some schools in the list of our participants today. They are of high reputation. Then our objective is only to strengthen that, to fortify it, and to even make it work better for us so that we are able to really create a healthy culture. So, what does it mean to have a healthy culture? Number one is marked by professional collaboration. Dictatorship is the complete opposite of this, as I mentioned earlier, and especially so because I mentioned already, when a teacher starts feeling he is not needed, he is not valued, he has nothing to contribute to the institution anymore, he has two choices. Either he coasts along and becomes one of those dead woods that we described earlier in that outline of characters. Dead wood. So many years teaching in that institution, maybe even already part of the, how they call that, fixtures in the campus, but underutilized, underused. I mean, it's very sad sometimes when I visit some schools and then they make me take lunch with the senior teachers. And then here is someone who has been in the institution for 25 years. Here's another one who's been here for 30 years. And they all just teach, have been teaching the same subject. And then I ask them, so do the management people, the management staff, the officers, are they able to get ideas from you? Are they able to consult you on how you address some problems in the past? And it's very unfortunate when you hear them saying, I know, sir, they don't. When these are teachers who may probably be the most important resource that the school has. They know what the school has gone through, has survived, has thrived in the past, and what has been most successful and what didn't work even. And maybe they can even share all those ideas. And this is a mark of a strong, healthy school culture when you make the most out of these senior teachers as very important resource. Not that they are going to have the diva mindset, because that was also described earlier in the cast of characters. Divas expecting special treatment, expecting privileged treatment. No, but that we make the most of their presence even in the school. Many times, in fact, when alumni homecoming happens, they are the magnet. They are the ones who can bring in the crowd. They are the ones that will make the whole batch, hey guys, it's a tribute to Mrs. So and so. Let's all go. And they're going to come back in big numbers because they identify the school with this or that institution. Teachers and administrators share their knowledge and develop plans together to achieve organizational goals. Teachers and administrators. So, none of the faculty meetings, as I said earlier, were memos are just read or announcements are made. Reminders are given about submissions, deadlines, calendar, all of which are already anyway in the website. No, but the faculty meeting is okay, teachers, let us discuss the problems you encountered with these online classes and let's share best practices. You don't need a guest. You don't need to pay a speaker to come to your faculty development plan, faculty development session. Get people to share best practices they learned about the online. What happens if the Wi-Fi gets weaker? What do they do when during an exam they encounter technical problems, difficulties? What are the best practices? And they can learn from each other. They are the best resource speakers if we give them this opportunity to share their knowledge and then together develop plans in order to achieve the school's goals. Principals work with teachers. They have a shared mission and vision. And I'm going to share with you later. This is one of the 11 principles of schools of character accreditation. Principals and teachers focus on student learning. And that's the bottom line of the title that I gave you for student success. The past 12 years, I've been attending conferences in the US because of my character education partnership and also the Center for the Fourth and Fifth Hours based in the State University of New York. And so to continue my affiliation with those two international groups, I have to attend two conferences every year, except when the pandemic started. And there was one conference I attended where, as a start of the conference, the organizer, the main speaker, put a chair in the middle of the auditorium and then told the participants, okay, dear teachers, administrators, I'm going to put a chair here in the middle, in front, and imagine that John, your student, is sitting here. Therefore, whatever discussions we should have, whatever decisions we may even make, please keep in mind John. Everything has to be for the benefit of John. And that's a fantastic idea. When we got into discussion of class size, when we got into discussion of creating a kind and caring classroom, it was very clear because of John. Because John has to be safe inside the classroom. Because John is what we decided to teach. I mean, that this is what we decided to become teachers for. Not the board. Okay, I seem to have some uh, hugot when it comes to things like that because I just don't like it when principal, teachers make decisions simply because the board keeps on following up about the students making it to the top 3 universities in the Philippines, like as if that's the end goal of education. Wait, not everyone is cut out for those top three big schools. Here's John, who wants to be a top chef in Asia. He's not going to end up in that the top three universities. He wants to study in culinary arts for Asia. Okay, that's where he is going to thrive. So we've got to be always making decisions, thinking about John succeeding, learning, and then being able to achieve his dreams. The reason why we want to make character formation a top priority now is because John needs it more than anything else. And I have always been repeating this. Ma'am, sir, administrators, principals, more urgent than improving the math standards, improving the English communication skills of the students, more urgent than stepping up in our science program is making sure that John grows up to be a good human being with character, with values, with virtues. The values and virtues that are being um, affected very much by the digital lifestyle. I mean, there's a decrease in their empathy, their kindness, their sense of respect for authority, their sense of responsibility. All of these are being very much badly affected by the digital environment. More urgent than all those other things is John growing up to be good, a man of character, and Joanna, a woman of character. So, principals and teachers focus on that, not on satisfying the board, breathing on our necks about performance in university. Those things, in fact, will follow. Research shows concentrate on character, academic achievement will follow. But concentrate on math, upgrade in math. Character will not necessarily follow. Concentrate on academics, character will not necessarily follow. I know a school where they emphasize, I mean, it's a tough competition in academics. And so the valedictorian, the salutatorian even resort to cheating because of the competition, that tough, stiff competition for honors, for grades. The school is aligned, goals and objectives are consistent with a mission. What did we put up the school for? And that's why it's very good to look back every so often to have a sense of history. I think I will also mention that in a while. It's very good to look back to why did the founders of the school start our school? For most of the Catholic schools, the founding parents, the founders of your school had in mind strong Catholic formation. Okay, then we look at the students now. Are they receiving that strong Catholic Christian formation? Are they ending up to be fervent Catholics? Um, with love for the sacraments, with love for our Lord. I mean that if I'm sure those founders, if the students in that school will not become better Christians, I don't think they would have gone through the tedious task of founding a school. And that's why it's very important. We have got to go back again and again to what is the purpose of our school? What is the end all and be all? I mean, from the very beginning, what has always been at the back of the mind of the founders of the school. Okay, so one way of doing it is to have what Thomas Lickona calls the school way, and then to put it into a pledge form, um, oath form. I was very lucky. I was one of the first graduates of Southridge School. I studied there from 1979 to 1984. We were the first grade 7, and then we were the first to be fourth year. We graduated from there, and we were made to memorize that I am a Southridge gentleman, and I dedicate myself to our mission of forming, Christian according to the Christian ideals, to be pious and sporting in spirit, to hone myself in the sciences and the arts, to equip myself with leadership and interpersonal skills, etc., etc. And I'm not exaggerating when I say every now and then when I make decisions, some of those words come to life, come to my mind: to serve others, especially the needy, to have zest for learning and virtue, driven by my sense of commitment and my role in society. All those things become alive and become like the guide, the way. So that's one way of developing, in a very strong way, the school culture. What do we want the students to be able to have? It's developed with input, voice from staff, students, and parents. Now, if you already have it in place, very good. Then the voice there is simply to get new students enrolling to sign that they have read and that they have understood what our way is. This is how we do things here in our school. Better yet, to make them memorize it. And better yet, to make the parents sign. This is how we do things in our school. These are our beliefs. This is a summary of what all of us in this school, in this institution, believe in. The school way expresses the school's core moral values, whether it is respect, kindness, toughness. The school's motto, viriliter agite, act manly, be strong, be a man. That's our motto. Very good. Another school in Iloilo, duc in altum, launch out into the deep, go forth, do good. Um, have the faith that if you launch out into the deep, you'll be able to make things happen, not being afraid, not being scared of the challenges that life presents us with. Okay, that's our motto, that's our core value, that's what we stand for as a school. And performance values. It's written in the we voice. In the case of the Southridge example I gave you, it's the I. I am a Southridge gentleman, and I dedicate myself to our mission of strengthening the family and of forming people according to the Christian ideal, etc. So here's an example. The Place Way. It's a school called Place. At Place School, we pursue excellence in scholarship and character. We celebrate and honor each other by being respectful, honest, kind, and fair. We give our best inside and outside the classroom. This is who we are, even when no one is watching. And then make the students recite this every day, even if you want to start the day. Or in some schools I know, they do it um, on Monday and then on Friday. And then on every student assembly that they have where everyone is gathered together. That is their way. And that is how they remind themselves these are the virtues, these are the values that we stand for as a school. Here's another way, the Roosevelt Way. There's a way that students here are expected to act and the way that are expected not to act. It's defined by the Roosevelt Way. That's their way. Okay, so we're looking at strategies now on how can we strengthen, create, make this school culture that is student centered. That's one way. That's why, well, as a way of beginning to, I mean, as a way of preparing to begin a new school year, if you don't have anything like that, maybe that's one of the workshops your school, your teachers will need to do. And then, better yet, invite in your discussion the student officers, the student leaders, the elected student council members. um, Last month when I was talking to the participants of the seminar on class advisory, I told them the pandemic is not an excuse for students not to practice leadership anymore, not to practice social service anymore, or outreach activities anymore, or community service anymore. If there's a way, I mean, if there's a will, there's a way. They will find a way of being able to help the poor, help the suffering, help the needy. And then there should be a way that they can practice student leadership, that they continue being concerned about the students, the other students in their school. Here's another way: classroom compacts for excellence. All teachers work with their students during the first 3 weeks of school to create a classroom compact for excellence. The compact shapes the classroom culture. It lays the foundation for everything else. Needless to say, if it's going to be in the service of the school culture, it has to be perfectly aligned with the school culture, with what the school stands for, with the core values of the school. So, for example, you can have like this: students coming up with this. This is our compact for class excellence. We want to be a peaceful and productive class. And then students will work in groups of 4 to fill in. The students will do this to help everyone feel respected and cared about. The teacher will do this. And then the other one, to help everyone do their best. Students will do this. Teacher will do this. And then it's like a compact, okay? You have your part, I do my part, and we'll do it together. And that's our agreement. That's our compact. This is aside from, if you want, you draft it into a pledge form that the students recite at the start of every class or at the start of every day or every week. So the Compact for Excellence communicates what our school values. In this case, doing our best, being our best. And the Compact for Excellence sends the message that teachers too have high expectations of students, and the teachers also have their own role to play as students also. We are all in this together. We are all trying to do our best and be our best. That's their compact for excellence. Now, it's worthwhile working on this. As I said, some of you, it's just a matter of strengthening your school culture. Some of you, it may need reviewing, going back to. But here are reasons why. I mean, here are things that we will be able to achieve if we have a healthy culture. It unifies people within the school and its many communities. And one of the worst signs of poor school culture is disunity. Teachers disunited, Filipino teachers against English teachers. I've seen this. High school teachers against the grade school teachers. The high school teachers think that the grade school teachers pamper and spoil the kids. And the grade school teachers think the high school are terror teachers. They don't have a heart, they don't care. When you have a school like that, the very disunited, you cannot even speak of one school culture. And then you have a Christmas celebration where you know it's in the air. The grade school teachers will sit together like that. The high school teachers will be together, packed together. The- what a Christmas celebration. I mean, I'm dramatizing, I'm exaggerating perhaps even, but you and I who have been in this work for decades, you know what I'm talking about. We have seen it when you have disunity happening even among the faculty, and then the disunity between the teachers and the parents, and worse, the disunity between the teachers and then the students. And then well, it's very difficult to be working in an institution like that. On the other hand, when you have a school culture that unites everyone, that is governed by kindness, by respect, by unity. The University of Asia in the Pacific, that's their battle cry, unitas. That's what dictates what they want to do. Unitas, unity. And it's so nice to be working in an institution like that where um, pandemic hits. The ones who suffer the most are the ladies in the cafeteria. They're jobless. They have no salary. Here comes a student organization, the catalyst of UANP, organizing a fundraising for the security guards, janitors, maintenance men, and the ladies in the cafeteria because they are jobless. They have no income. That's unity. When you have students thinking about the um, the ones who need it most, the ones who need help most, and that's fantastic. Or Southridge thinking about the jeepney drivers there in Alabang because they were left jobless by the pandemic. That's unifying people within the school and its many communities. It's fantastic. It's wonderful. And it's a world of difference. When you have a school culture that is healthy, that assists with establishment of a plan for school improvement. It's very easy now to look into what else can we do to be better? Else can we do to make things more effective? It focuses people on the future and point to what the school wants to become. That's the objective of being united by a vision, by a battle cry, by a way. And then that promotes growth in the folks who work there. Growth among the students, growth among the teachers, and even growth among the parents. I repeat, a hallmark of a great school is its effort to reach the parents in helping in getting them to collaborate. Okay, so we have different types of learning environments. You have the student or learner centered, you have the knowledge centered, you have the assessment centered, and this became the problem in the United States. The criticism of many experts in the field of education, they ended up being just like that, like as if everything depended on the test results. And so that dictated how things were supposed to be done in schools. Well, this presentation is supposed to be John, whom we asked to sit in front of the auditorium. All decisions we have to be in the service of John, for John to be a better person, for John to be successful as a human being. So some people call it the culture, ethos, atmosphere, climate. This part of the presentation, I have 15 minutes left. I also covered when I talked about creating a kind and caring school, creating a culture of kindness in our school. We can call it culture, ethos, atmosphere, climate. And here are 11 ways by which we can improve that ethos, the prevailing atmosphere in your school, which affects everything that goes on inside its walls. Okay, well, functions of culture. It creates distinctions among organizations, provides sense of identity. I will talk about that when I tackle class advisory, facilitates the development of commitment to the group. They know what they are committing themselves to in the first place. Enhance stability in the social system. It's a social glue that binds the organization together and guide and shape the attitudes and behavior of organizational members. Let me go to the 11, okay? Here. 11 proven ways to build a positive school culture. Number one, I this is the fourth or fifth time I'm talking about the parents. We've got to get the parents involved, especially now when we are in this online situation. Many of the disciplining that you used to do inside the classroom, the parents now have to be the ones doing it at home, making sure that they are really there on time for their online classes, especially if it is synchronous class, that It's only the Zoom room that is open, or Google Meet, whatever elements that you are using, not nba.com simultaneously with a Facebook, simultaneously with a TikTok also open there, simultaneously while they're also watching a Netflix movie. and and I know student, they had to suspend because of that. But you see, the thing is, the teachers are not there behind them. I mean, the teacher cannot see what is really on the screen of the students. The parents can, or at least the people at home can. That's why, if we are going to succeed in creating this culture, especially given now the situation we find ourselves in, we've got to get the parents involved. You have to have an orientation with the parents. For example, how to help your son and daughter in this online setup. I mean, if you've not done anything like that last year, maybe you should do something like that for the coming school year. We need to reach out to the parents and tell them we can only do so much from our side of the screen, but you, parents, you're there at home. You are the one keeping the schedule with them at home. Celebrate personal achievement and good behavior, not just championship in PRISA and winning in the um, SPCCA, no? Secondary SSPCA, press conference, yan, yung press journalism contest. I mean, not just MTAP and NMAT and all those other competitions that they join, but celebrate as well achievement, personal achievement, and good behavior. Number three, establish school norms that build values. Do you have a virtue of the month talk for your students? Do you have a virtue of the quarter that you push um, every quarter, for example? A certain system by which you talk of character, or the students hear from you, from the teachers, from the school authorities. Guys, we need you to be honest. We need you to be responsible. We need you to be, regardless of what kind of school you are, international school, Catholic school, Christian school, parochial school, private school owned by proprietor. Regardless, whatever kind of school you are, there have got to be certain norms that build values. I know most schools begin their class with a prayer. That is part of building values. Faith is a value, for example, or taking the oath of a gentleman or lady or good person of your school. Making that oath every Monday morning to start the week, that is part of building values. Set consistent discipline even in this situation of the online setup. We've got to be on top of the discipline of our students. And now, of course, by discipline here, we mean the online discipline, discipline in attending online classes, discipline in paying attention when the teacher is delivering a lesson live to the students. Number five, model the behaviors you want to see in your school. Number six, engage students in ways that benefit them. Number seven, create rituals and traditions that are fun for students and teachers. I gave these examples in my discussion on creating a kind and caring school. I gave these samples of traditions that I've seen in fantastic schools I've worked in. The first day treat, the student council would give a surprise. Of course, this is the face-to-face setup, but you can creatively think of some ways to make it happen in an online setup. But in Northfield, in Westbridge, in Southridge, in even in UANP, on the first day of the school year, we, the student leaders, I mobilize them to make it look like a big celebration. I mean, not just a celebration of welcome back, but that we thank the teachers for continue to teaching. So I have students who will say, let's set up a um, brewed coffee station free for all teachers on day one. They put balloons in the faculty rooms, and then they post this mm, how do you call this, inspirational quotations. You teach, um, um, great teachers inspire, like that, no? Or thank you for choosing the most noble profession, like that. So the day one becomes like a celebration, and it has become a tradition, and it's full of values. Teachers Day, and I said already earlier, administrators who are here, please make sure your celebration of Teachers Day is really a meaningful one, not just no classes on that day. Okay, if you want to call off classes, then have the celebration the day before, where I don't know, like in the case of South Ridge, the teachers are treated to a very great formal lunch. Fantastic, where we give recognition to teachers who have been there for 10, 25, 30 years. Okay, fantastic. Family Day, Christmas program, Love in Action Day, where all the students have to creatively come up with an outreach activity that they will do on that day. Here's one class that decides to go to a visit to the orphanage. Here's another class that decided to go to a home for the aged. Here's another one that decided to visit National Children's Hospital, to visit sick kids who are dying. I mean, so young and yet so sick. So, Love in Action Day. But I was put to shame by Morning Star Montessori School when I learned from them. In our school, which is the very first school of character in the Philippines, here in our school, we don't just do love in action in one day. We have 100 days of kindness. That is a school of character. And how I wish you all will have the chance to visit that school in Los Baños and Calamba, or Pep Rally, getting the whole school to cheer for the varsity teams, for the students who are going to compete in inter-school contests or national competitions. And then I add more. These ones I did not mention in the Creating a Kind and Caring School. No? Parents' Day, where parents are invited to come over, open house, and observe the classes and meet with the teachers, have coffee with the faculty if you want. You're very much welcome, because we are a family. And then the grandparents, very important now, especially in the Philippine setting. This may not work in other countries, but in the Philippines, Grandparents' Day, wow, that will work, because many times, if not all the time, the grandparents stay with the apo under the same roof. Or this medical mission for families of the auxiliary staff organized by the students. And then the doctors are among the parents who are doctors, volunteering a day, a half a day of free medical attention for the families of the maintenance men, security guards, janitors, auxiliary staff, open house, alumni day, principal's day. Especially not because of the person, but because of the office. I mean, that's part of creating a culture of respect and authority, that the principal, whoever he is, occupying that post, deserves expression of gratitude for the sacrifices that he puts in running the school. Number 8, encourage innovation in the classroom. That's that's a very healthy school culture, where teachers are encouraged to come up with brilliant ideas on how to do things more effectively, how to be able to teach more effectively. Especially now, we will replace classroom here with online classes, encourage innovation in the online classes, online setting. Number nine, professional development for teachers. Sure shot formula if you are to create a culture, strong, healthy culture of excellence um, among the faculty in the first place. So, for schools, Catholic schools, for example, I will include there recollection, a half day recollection, even online for the teachers is a very great way of being able to form, develop the teachers personally, especially if your school run by a Catholic institution or Christian schools, for example, guided prayer, holy mass, retreats, they are all part of faculty development. Number 10, in spite of our absence from campus, we've got to maintain the physical environment of the school. And finally, number 11, it's not enough to put this in place. Once we put this in place, we have to frequently go to it and check how is our school climate. It may have been good last year, but because of this new setup now, things may be different. We need to check again, evaluate again. Okay, so school climate will include this. How's the interaction of the teachers in the lounge? Is there like a cliques? Are there cliques? Or is there separation between the senior and the junior, or the young ones, the new ones, the older ones sniggering and looking down on the younger ones, and then the younger ones looking at the older ones as just waiting for their retirement? The quality of interaction in the teacher's lounge will spell the kind of climate there is. And even the noise levels in the hallways and cafeteria, well, we are deprived of this at this moment, and the physical comfort. But I have to go back again to that idea I presented earlier. Please do be concerned about how teachers are coping in this online setup. Because technical problem is a real problem. Technical difficulties are not concocted, imagined. In many places in the Philippines, it is a real concern. How easy it is for teachers, students, teachers to interact with one another informally, like the size of the school will affect this. And given now the present situation, is there a Zoom room? Is there a place online where students can go to vent their frustration, to run to any teacher for help, for support? Is the guidance counselor of the school reachable, even online, given the situation that we find ourselves in right now? Because the struggle is real, it's not a concocted one. Okay, well, let me skip now to the last part. Well, it's already 5 o'clock. Positive learning can only take place in a positive culture. A healthy school culture will affect more student and teacher success than any other reform or school improvement effort currently being employed. So, if we want to have an excellent school ahead of us, school year ahead of us, one of the most important things we have to do is to see to it that our school culture is defined, is clear, and we are all going to work together, the parents, the teachers, and the students, in achieving, in being able to um, acquire the kind of school culture we want to be able to build. Okay, well, we I didn't get the time to present to you the yeah, those last parts, but I am going to share with you the whole PowerPoint presentation. Okay, you can download the whole PowerPoint presentation, including the last few slides I didn't get to cover. I will describe it to you now. Okay. All of you, of course, will receive an international seminar, a certificate attesting that you attended an international seminar signed by Dr. Thomas Lickona, who is the president of the Center for the Fourth and Fifth Hours. I am the president for Asia, but he is the overall president worldwide. And your signature will bear, your certificate will bear his signature. That's why our past participants have always been able to use the certificate for their PRC, renewal license. Now, I will find a way of being able to send in bulk the certificates of the different schools. But if you don't receive your certificate, or if you want to get your certificate right away, please send an email to I want my certificate at gmail.com. Indicate the complete name that you want to appear in the certificate, because some schools registered teachers, but the names submitted were incomplete. Walang middle initial or so. Please submit the name as you want it to appear in the certificate. Send it to I want my certificate at gmail.com. Before you wake up tomorrow morning, you already have the certificate in your inbox. Okay? And then um, well, I invite you to go to Facebook page. If you want to download 10 articles, 10 books that are already available there that are related to the topic that we discussed today, go to facebook.com/groups/the professional teacher. You will be able to download the PowerPoint presentation there. Okay? Join it, wait for somebody to accept you in, and then once you're there, scroll down and click on whatever materials you want to download. They're ready for downloading. And then just give us around 30 minutes. This same PowerPoint presentation will be uploaded there. And maybe in an hour or so, the recording of this seminar, of this session, will also be uploaded there, so that in case some of you encountered problems with the internet along the way, you can catch it there. Okay, tomorrow we tackle building moral intelligence, one brick at a time, just to offer you the materials that um, Center for the Fourth and Fifth Hours have been making available, the 11 booklets on the 11 principles of school accreditation, especially if you're a school that wants to undergo accreditation. I know we have ChildLink participants. They are another school of character, and they are here with us also. These are the 11 principles, 497 full color glossy pages, which used to be $500, but we don't want that. Um, I offered it be last time at 900, but we finished up that supply, and somebody else is supplying now and is offering only 1,200 pesos for the 497 full colored glossy um, 11 principles. And then the other one is, especially if you're going to be with us on Thursday, I think, on classroom management, this is the source. But again, I don't want you to be paying $24. We are making this available because I brought the author here to the Philippines and I paid him 1 million pesos already to speak in SMX. So if you want a copy of the digital book, only for 50 pesos. And then finally, the last book we are offering is Lessons from the Classrooms by Hal Urban, 20 Things Good Teachers Do. Hard copies are available, but Amazon will offer it for $15 plus another $12 for shipping. So no, we don't want that. So that's only available for 300 pesos, the book of Hal Urban. If you want any of those, then please send an email to catalystpds@gmail.com. Okay? Uh, Send an email there, and then indicate what you want to order materials. We will give you the details of how to go about ordering, and then okay, thank you very much. You've been fantastic. But can I invite you to turn on your videos, because some people want to be able to okay, let me see, participants, sorry, chat there. Okay, I cannot unmute you, but sige, no problem. Let me just check. No participants. Okay, anyway. So, can I invite you to please turn on your screen so that we can have a little bit of picture taking? Give us your biggest, widest, fakest smile. Page one. Thank you. Sorry, there are 5 pages. So let's just do it one page at a time. Smile. Pretend you're very, very happy. Okay, thank you. We go to, sorry, page three now. And smile. And finally, page four. Okay. One, two, three, smile. Okay. Great. Well, yeah, thank you. I'm trying to see where I can make you be able to unmute, but I cannot find it. I cannot find the button. It's okay. So then, thank you very much, everyone, for joining us. Hope to see you in our other future seminars. Yeah, I think now you can unmute yourselves. And
Thank
you're
you.
welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Very happy to see you. And
Salamat,
please,
Sir Rentoy.
I didn't get the chance to get you to ask questions, but you can send an email to catalystpds@gmail.com. Send your questions there, and I will see if we will be able to cover them in the other sessions this week. About the CPD credit that was asked here by Carlito, as I mentioned, the certificate is international seminar participation, and all 7,000 participants we've had in the past have been able to use the certificate to get their license renewal, including myself. I managed to get my license renewal last year before the pandemic using the certificates that we have. Okay, it's not indicated as CPD, but it's International Seminar of Self-Directed Learning, and it's used by PRC. Thank you very much, everyone. Stay safe. See you again in our future sessions. I'm going to end this meeting in five, four. See you again. Take care. Don't get sick, please.
Thank
Stay
you.
safe.
Oh, thank
Po.
you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
You're
sir.
Thank
welcome.
you.
Thank you,
Three,
sir.
two, and bye, everyone.
Thank